Well, ladies and gentlemen. It looks like I was wrong about Chinese stocks, China in general. China is imploding. They just had a massive property developer, Evergrande, however you want to pronounce it, declare bankruptcy. And we all know when a large institution in a country declares bankruptcy, anything that happens to that country thereafter is bad, and it's just the end of the world. Just like in the United States in 2008 and 2009. Oh, wait, the U.S. is doing better than ever. Welcome back to Strongman Personal Finance. We got to talk about China. Now, I've been shilling Alibaba stock as a speculative investment for the past year and a half, 2 years. I bought Baba simply on the thesis that I think people are overestimating how bad it is in China. I think people are hearing tons of propaganda that doesn't really point to the facts. And I believe people are irrationally undervaluing Chinese stocks in general. Now, I recently sold Baba for a tax loss harvest, and I put it into a China ETF. And I plan to hold that ETF for a very long time until I am rewarded for my patience. But people are laughing at me in the comments because I didn't buy Baba and then have it go up in a vertical line right after I bought it. And it really is it really illustrates the essence of why you get rewarded for long-term investing. People in the short term, they really focus on short-term market fluctuations. If they buy a stock and it goes up, they're a genius. If they buy a stock and it goes down, they're absolute morons. It's the same thing that's going on in China. We're getting bad economic news out of China. A large property developer has gone bankrupt. The Chinese government has cracked down on their tech sector. Apparently they have an imploding population, but that doesn't just happen overnight, but okay. You're hearing a bunch of bad stuff. Here's what I think. I think it's all, or a big part of it is propaganda. Think about it. When Baba beats earnings, when JD beats earnings, their most recent earnings reports, oh, it's fake, the numbers are fake, they're fudge, everything's fake out of China, blah, 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 blah. But when bad economic data comes out of China, oh my God, you can trust this stuff 100%. It's true. You can trust it, bro. China's going to absolute zero. And I look across the interwebs and I see everybody, literally everybody, hating on China. China's trash. It's garbage. Just buy U.S. stocks. And I think it's hilarious that people are getting sucked into the classic mistake of short-term thinking. Do I think China will outperform the United States in the next 10 years when it comes to stock market returns? I do. I really do. And I'm not saying that because China is better or it's a better country. But I think what's happening is there's massive irrational fear baked into China. I think people are pricing in China going to zero. I really do. I think they're pricing in the end of the world because there's a lot of uncertainty around China. The growth story is falling apart. There's property developers declaring bankruptcy. There's all sorts of bad stuff happening. But I sit back and I say, are things truly as bad as people are making them out to be? Or are we hearing propaganda from our government and news media for our number one geopolitical enemy? I wonder which one it is. So when you're a long-term investor, you're going to get crap, okay? I get crap all the time for buying VT. I get crap for buying Chinese stocks. But I have a rational, intelligent thesis, and I have a rational and intelligent thought process that will reward me over the long run. I do not buy things simply because they go up a lot. I do not buy things simply because the media and the horde tell me that that's what I should do. Because all I hear is that I should just buy large cap US tech stocks, conveniently, which have massively outperformed a lot of other things in the last decade, and that I should stay completely out of China because it's going to zero. Now, call me crazy, but chasing the herd rarely ends up well. I've called so many clown bubbles. And I haven't got a lot of credit for it, but I've done it. And I've gone against the herd and I've been proven right in the long run. I have the patience of decades. I can wait for a reward for decades. And people, they say they can do that, but they can't. In reality, most people want to buy a stock and they want to see it go up in a vertical line. And if they don't get that sweet, delicious, green, positive vertical line return in the first year or two, they freak out. They lose their minds. That's not how long-term investing works. You have to be able to buy something and have it massively underperform for a decade or two. And if you can't handle that, you're going to have a hard time achieving retirement because you're just going to chase performance like everybody else does. Even Wall Street does this. There's so many clowns out there. But what do I honestly think about China? I'm not a geopolitical or, economic. I'm not going to sit here and say I'm an economist. Oh, I know exactly what's going on in China. I have no idea what's going on in China, okay? But do I think we're hearing mass pessimism about China? Do I think we're hearing propaganda about China? 100% I am. They're the United States' geopolitical enemy. They're the U.S.'s number one threat. They're the world's second largest economy. They are not a democracy, and they don't like us, and we don't like them. And when you have a situation like that with an emerging power and a dominant power that feels threatened, of course you're going to hear propaganda, okay? But will China implode because Evergrande just declared bankruptcy? I mean, anything could happen. It could, okay? But I look back at history and I say, when a country has a crisis, an economic crisis, what generally happens? Some bad times happen, some tough times happen, and then eventually they come out of it as the cycle reverses, okay? China, their government has probably made some mistakes. But do I think that China is going to zero? Do I think this crisis is going to make China implode? No, I don't. I think their government will intervene, and they will intervene decisively if there really is that big of a problem. Their government is not going to destroy their country intentionally. Now, if they're morons, maybe they will. But I think the ultimate key to their success is having a strong economy. They're not stupid. They're not stupid. And if they just let their economy implode and their government doesn't take decisive action, okay, well then maybe they are a bunch of morons and they deserve to implode. But I don't think that's going to happen. I think you're going to hear a bunch of bad stuff about China for the next couple of days, weeks. Oh, this data, which we could trust because it's bad about China, and that data and this data. And then eventually the government's going to step in and do some massive intervention. They're going to bail out their freaking property developers. They're probably going to cut interest rates massively, just like we do in the United States. You got to remember, this has happened before in the United States. The perfect American country that never goes down. Stocks only go up in the United States. We had a massive crisis in 2008, 2009, and the world was ending. But if you had held on to stocks or kept buying them, you would have ended up well. So am I selling VT to reduce my China exposure? No, I'm staying the course. Okay, am I selling my Fletch ETF? I got a couple grand in there. No, I don't care because it's 2023. What's the world going to be like in 2033? What's the world going to be like in 2043? 2010, 20 years from now? I don't know. I don't know. And that's why I stay the course, because if I'm right, oh boy, I can make a lot of money. If I'm wrong, okay. I mean, lesson learned, I guess just buy U.S. stocks, right? Anyway, that's it. I'm not trying to convince you to stay invested in China. If you don't want to invest in China, the stocks go down and you sell them, great. Go buy U.S. stocks. Go put all your money in U.S. stocks. Be my guest. They went up a lot. Anyway, that's it. Got to have some lunch. Talk to you later.